So today I've got two questions, and the first is from Western Lights, who said, okay, so what MBTI type do you see yourself getting romantically involved with, or rather, most attracted to, and why? Okay. I think in general, relationships are a lot bigger than your Myers-Briggs type. There are a lot of determining factors that really play into who I'm attracted to that are fairly outside of the MBTI realm and more in the common sense realm, I guess. But that being said, I have noticed certain patterns in relationships that I do think correlate with MBTI type. So I would say that with STs, I tend to have what I would call sort of a kindred spark. Um, with STs, I find that it's really easy for us to tend to be on the same page about things. We have fairly easy connections usually. We tend to enjoy a lot of similar activities. And I generally feel pretty secure with STs because, again, we're very similar. We tend to really understand the thought process with that similarity of type. Sort of like parallel lines, really. But you do know what they say about parallel lines, is that they never meet. So I've not really had a relationship romantically with an ST. I'm not going to rule it out, but it hasn't happened yet. I find that I have a fairly intellectual spark with NTs. NTs are very perceptive people. They're very thoughtful, and they're very good with human nature. I find that problem solving with NTs is kind of one of my favorite things to do because we're very good at seeing things from different angles, but working together to form a workable solution or conclusion to whatever it is that we're working on together. Very intellectually challenged, and I really admire their long-term planning skills, I have to say. I find that I have, with SFs, it's usually a pretty strong emotional spark, because, I mean, let's face it, SFs are like snuggles and blankets and like cinnamon rolls of this world. They're very empathetic people, and as an ST, I think empathy is something that's very, it's kind of enigmatic, but very comforting, because empathy is something that STs kind of have to work at, but it seems to come very naturally to SFs. So I feel like SFs are in general a very good influence on me, and I think we're good partners in crime, even though there's usually not a lot of crime actually going on. But SFs are the ones that make you feel like you matter, that you count. They kind of pull out your good parts and really try to emphasize what is important about you as a person. I find that with NFs, I tend to have the biggest romantic spark. I mean, obviously, it's not like I've been attracted to every NF that I've met, but I would say that the strongest attraction, purely on an attraction basis, was to an NF. I don't know if it's kind of an opposites attract deal or what, but NFs are very devoted generally. They really genuinely care about things. And they also don't micromanage, which is kind of a big deal if you're an ISTP. So it's very freeing to kind of find someone that you know cares about you, but isn't going to try and control you. And as an ISTP, you know, that's pretty important actually. I think the mix of practical pragmatism that ISTPs have mixed with the caring idealism of an NF has the potential to be really good, very strong, when it's well balanced. Now, that's the big caveat there. If it is not well balanced, it becomes very corrosive, which is not great. Trust me, really not great. So yeah. Okay, so the second question is from Ichigo Avalanche, who said, so I'm an ISTP girl. I want to know about dedication and ISTPs. I admire people who have a lot of dedication in the stuff they do because I feel like I have a lack of dedication. Why? Is this normal for ISTPs? I think in some ways this is normal, but I would say it's not actually a lack of dedication. ISTPs are very loyal to the things and the people that they care about, but it's really more of a misguided pragmatism is what I would call it. And I think it really comes from the combination of functions and the way they're ordered specifically to the ISTP as to how this may manifest as an appearance of a lack of dedication. Case in point, I'm an ISTP girl too. I've had 3 completely different college majors so far. And if you take a look at the functions, dominant, introverted thinking. Introverted thinking needs a reason to do things. If it does not see a compelling reason to what it's doing, it is not going to do it. End of story. Auxiliary function, extroverted sensing. Extroverted sensing needs to experience things in order to know how it relates to the user. There's just really no way around that. I don't know if I'm going to like something or be good at something until I've actually tried to do it. Introverted intuition as a tertiary function is good with day-to-day planning, day-to-day goals, but because it's the child function, it has a really hard time making concrete long-term goals because the extroverted sensing is always going to outrank it. It's always going to need to experience the plan before it commits to it. And of course, down here, way at the bottom, you've got your inferior extroverted feeling, which just is kind of hopelessly wandering around trying to figure out what feelings are in general and not really quite understanding sometimes how to connect with the inner convictions that ISTPs have. Getting in touch with the personal meaningfulness that needs to come with whatever it is you're trying to do. So the trick is to play to your strengths and to work on developing your weaknesses. You've got TI and you've got SE. This means that you are highly equipped to learn and to learn very well. You only have to decide what it is that you want to learn and how it is that you want to use it, which is kind of the big question. Generally speaking, though, I think it's normal to kind of jump around to different things if you're an ISTP, which may appear to be a lack of dedication, but really it's you trying to find out what it is you're going to be good at, what it is that you're equipped to do, because ISTPs are all about doing. If you feel like your lack of dedication is bothering you, this means that you're leading too strongly with your introverted thinking and your extroverted sensing. You need to slow down and get in touch with your intuition and your feeling. So, sit down and really figure out what your goals are and what your values are, because these are the things that truly drive you. And if you aren't really listening to what they are, then you're always going to be chasing your tail and trying to figure out what the next thing is. I think this is a shortcoming that ISTPs can fall into, but that doesn't mean that you have to. It just means that it can happen. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's okay to explore things. I think it's normal. I think it's healthy, but you need to know what your values and your goals are underneath that. So really find a sense of direction. And, you know, once you do that, you'll find dedication, plenty of it. But it's really a difficult process to find out what your goals are. But I don't think there's really a way around that. Um, it's something that everyone has to work through for themselves. And I think ISTPs can get frustrated because it's really hard for us to find out what that is. I think it's harder than our NT and SJ counterparts, who seem to be very sure and very clear about who they are, about what they're doing, and about how they're going to get there. ISTPs, because of our function stack, that's not the way we work. We have to experience it. And I think the key to sort of tempering your experience-driven goals is to get in touch with your values and get in touch with what's important to you. Once you do that, then you can work backwards to how you're going to get there. But keep at it and you'll do great.